Hello. Welcome, class number 2000. Wow. No, 2000, no. He puts in 2000, no. Class 1200. No, 2000, no. 1200. All right, not two, no, 2000, no. Class 1200, welcome. Okay, I want to do the last three paragraphs because they are connected to my philosophy for learning English. Page 107, the third from the bottom. 90%, ya lo he dicho mil veces aquí, 90% of everything we say is built from basic grammar, like the foundation of a skyscraper. If you want to build a skyscraper with your English, focus on the foundation. Mira, y es cierto. Sin buenos cimientos no construyes ningún rascacielos con nada, ni con tu inglés, ni con lo que sea. Cimientos. The most critical element in building a beautiful skyscraper is the foundation. Foundation significa, por un lado, una fundación, pero también cimientos o cimentación. The foundation. And with English, if you want to build a skyscraper with your English, it's the foundation, the basic grammar. La gramática que ya sabes de sobra, sobre el papel. En teoría, claro, el presente perfecto, vale. Con el verbo to have más el participio, I have eaten, I have come, I have gone, I have seen. Bueno, ya lo sabes de sobra de esos tres. Desde los 13 años, you know these things. Ahora lo tienes activado donde I've seen everything. I've gone there many times. I've done it. I've been there. I've had a lot of problems. She's had, he's had, we've had, they've had. Have you? That's the present perfect. Mastery of one verb tense, but you need to master the present, the past, the future, and the present perfect. Esos cuatro tiempos. Bueno, the present and present continuous. Present simple and present continuous. Past simple and past continuous. ¿Dónde ibas cuando te vi ayer? Where were you going when I saw you yesterday? And then the future. Y el futuro con going to casi nos vale. Will, puedes hasta saltarlo. I don't recommend it, but ¿qué vas a hacer en vez de qué harás? Iré ahí mañana, voy a ir ahí mañana. Voy a ir, es muy fácil. I'm going to go. She's going to go. We're going to go, etc. That's the basic elements. That's the foundation. 90% of everything we say is built, construido, from basic grammar. And it is true. Basic stuff. Lo básico, lo primero. Bueno, este libro no es por orden de avance, no. Es un libro de referencia. But this part of the method, el método, this part is the only part that's really important. If you master this part, you're ready to conquer the world using English. Now, for understanding, everything, sorry. But for speaking, only this. For speaking, but you have to be good with it. Ágil, como un malabarista con 3 pelotas, nada más, no con 18. Si intenta con 18, hace el ridículo. Es mejor malabarista, pero va a hacer ridículo que el de solo 3. Pero se le cae uno siempre. Y la gente dice, qué malo es. No, es mejor que el otro, pero el otro solo lo hace con 3. Pero puede impresionar con 3. Y tú puedes impresionar con 3 pelotas gramaticales y de vocabulario hablando. But to understand, 100 pelotas, all right? 100 for understanding. 90% of everything we say is built, construido, de la gramática básica, from basic grammar, like the foundation, al igual que los cimientos de un rascacielos, like the foundation of a skyscraper. If you want to build a skyscraper with your English, focus on the foundation. Focus on the basics. Leo Messi, Cristiano y hoy en día otros, it's dominio del balón. It's very simple. Speed, agility, and ball control. Ball control. And then shooting, of course. Passing, of course. But these are basic skills. Basic skills. You know, Carlos Alcaraz. Derecha, revés, y el servicio. The basic skills. And you know, there are only a few movements. There are only a few, maybe 10 or 15 different situations. A lob. Okay. There may be 10 or 15 different situations on the tennis court. But the best tennis players in the world become masters at these 10 or 15 situations. And that's it. And in English, speaking English or Spanish or French or German, it's 10 or 15 grammar situations. The present tense, the past tense, the future, the present perfect. And that's it. A negative, interrogative, affirmative. So we have present tense, present simple, present continuous, past simple, past continuous, going to future, the future, going to, and the present perfect. Son 6. O si me apuras, 8. Multiplica por 3. Negative, interrogative, affirmative. Son 24 combinaciones gramaticales para el 95% de lo que tienes que decir en la vida. Y luego, 20 verbos. El verbo molestar lo dices una vez a la semana. You only say it once a week. The verb to write, you say it 5 times per day. The verb to hold, como sostener o mantener una reunión, to hold a meeting, you say it twice a week. But the verb to be, un derivado del verbo to be, 3 veces por minuto. So you need to be an expert with the basic verbs. So, 90% of everything we say is built from basic grammar, like the foundation of a skyscraper. If you want to build a skyscraper with your English, focus on the foundation. The next one, the next to last paragraph in this book. The foundation for the mastery of English is based solely on listening comprehension and agility with the basic grammar. All the rest is interior decoration and finishing touches. It's interesting, this paragraph. Los cimientos para el dominio del inglés se basa única y exclusivamente en la comprensión auditiva y la agilidad con la gramática más básica. Todo lo demás es decoración de interiores y toques finales. You understand? All the rest is interior decoration and finishing touches. Finishing touches. The foundation, los cimientos, the foundation for the mastery. Mastery is el dominio. Maestría, vamos, the mastery of English is based, basado en, based solely, otra vez solely. Se hace una pausa en la L de solely. Solely on listening comprehension and agility with the basic grammar. All the rest is interior decoration and finishing touches. And finally, paragraph 1000. ¿Será posible? Mira, voy a poner en circle. Paragraph 1000. Listening comprehension requires exposing your ear to 1,000 hours of English spoken by hundreds of speakers. Agility with the basic grammar requires humility, and hard work. Humildad más trabajo duro, que es humildad. Agility with the basic grammar. Listening comprehension and agility with the it's not so difficult. Los españoles priorizáis mal. Tenéis manía de los verbos compuestos, los phrasal verbs. Los phrasal verbs son para entenderlos, no para usarlos. You don't need them. Only look for get up, go out, come in. The easy ones, yes. But the rest, no. Don't try to learn phrasal verbs. Only understand them. Yes, it's imperative to understand phrasal verbs. And the conditional, ¿qué harías si estuvieras? ¿Qué habrías hecho ayer si hubieras estado? That's difficult. That's difficult. But remember, la condicional lo usamos 2 veces por mes. You can go through life without mastery of the conditional. I know a lot of people who are very successful professionally using English, and their spoken English is not very good. Their understanding is good. Tienen un C2 auditivo y un B2 hablado. Y con un C2 auditivo puedes cerrar contratos millonarios por todo el mundo, viajando por todo el mundo, con un nivel hablado B2, incluso B1 si me apuras. Pero el C2 aquí te da tranquilidad, porque cuando entiendes cabalmente, decir, wow, que es una gozada, wow, entiendo todo. Te sientes dueño y señor, con o sin razón, del entorno de comunicación, porque estás entendiendo, estás relajado, tranquilo. Si eres inteligente y conoces tus temas. If you need to be a good professional, and you need to be intelligent. You need to be prepared professionally. If you're going to travel to Tokyo, to Shanghai, to Stockholm, or to New York City, or to London, or to, wherever, Los Angeles, to do business, you need to understand perfectly. If you don't, good luck. Speaking, don't worry. Speak as well as possible, but don't become obsessed with speaking well, perfectly. It's impossible. But it's imperative to understand perfectly. Then you're in a position, if you're prepared with your subjects, if you're prepared, you know your subjects, and you're intelligent, you can do business very successfully in English. Remember, you're never going to speak English perfectly. Okay, and with this I finish. How much time do I have? Huh? All right. I came to Spain in 1972 as a student in August 1972. I was 20 years old. And I did 1 semester, and then I lived in Spain. I didn't study in the second semester. The second semester was not academic. The first semester, yes. And in the second semester, which was the winter and spring of 1973, I lived in Madrid. And one of the things I did was to read 4 novels by Pío Baroja in voz alta, aloud, to practice agility. Then I returned to the United States. I went back to Austin, Texas, to finish my degree at the University of Texas. And then I made the decision to study for a doctorate, hacer un doctorado, in Spanish, a doctorate in Spanish literature. To do that, I decided to come back to Spain to spend 2 years living here, reading and gaining a greater command of the Spanish language, with the idea of going back at age 24 to Texas to begin the doctoral program. Now, during those 2 years, from 1974 to 1976, I needed to make money. I needed to earn my bread. I needed to pay the rent. I needed to make ends meet. So the easiest and quickest way was simply to start giving English classes, teach English. I found a job in Berlitz School, and they didn't train me. I mean, bueno, me formaron durante media hora de formación. Aquí son 2 semanas. half an hour. And I went into my first class. And the student, el señor Melero, he realized that I was green. Estaba verde. He realized, se dio cuenta. He realized I was green. And at the end of the hour, he said, this is your first class, isn't it? I said, yes. He said, I liked it. I said, oh, good. Why? You corrected me. Estamos encima, correcting. I said, I like that. Thanks to Mr. Melero, I realized corrigiendo cada error, correcting every mistake, was a dynamic way of controlling the class. Bam, 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 bam. And it began la primera semilla del método Vaughan, the first seed of the Vaughan method, began there. And since 1974, I have personally taught 30,000 hours of class, personally, plus 15,000 hours on the radio. Digo ahí porque nuestra radio está para allá. On the radio, 15,000, and 5,000 on television. Aquí, 520 horas con vosotros ahora. So I've taught for 50,000 hours. All right. And I've personally taught around 2,000 people. It's a very rich experience, teaching, education. It's a very rich and good profession. And I've received a lot of, I've made a lot of good friends. I've received a lot of good feedback on my work. And I've always made an effort to do my best. I've always made an effort to try to surprise. Hay que intentar sorprender al cliente. Superar cualquier expectativa. Wow. Wow, vaya clase, me he encantado. ¿Cómo te llamabas? What was your name? And so that's, you have to try. It's not always possible to surprise the client, but you have to try to surprise the client with quality. And the quality is the power of your person. It's la persona, it's the person. It's not really the method. It's the power of the person. It's the power of your convictions and the power of your feeling, the urgency to do your best and for that person to be happy, to be surprised if possible. And so I've enjoyed teaching, and I've taught many, many different people, ministers of the government, y operadores de tornos y fresadoras. I've taught people at every level. I've taught men, women, children, retired people, people in the military, people in advertising, people in manufacturing, people in chemical industry, engineers, financiers, marketeers, people in sales, people in human resources management. I've met a lot of very extremely interesting people. I've probably learned more from my students than they have learned from me. Of course, my students have improved their English, but I've learned a lot. I've learned enormous amounts of things about financial questions, finance, investments, manufacturing, chemical processes, pharmaceutical companies and how they operate, electronics, telecommunications, agriculture, phytosanitario, hasta the things I've learned about that. I know I'm a pseudo-expert. Tractors, combines, cosechadoras, fertilizers, fertilizantes, ácido fosfórico, phosphoric acid, nitrogen fertilizers, potassium fertilizers, minería, mining. I'm a semi-expert on many, many things thanks to you, thanks to my students. Because when I'm teaching my students, many times we're talking about questions relating to their jobs, to their industries, to the markets that they work with. And so ha sido un viaje fascinante. It's been a fascinating journey Aquí digo journey, no trip. Trip es un viaje del físico. Journey es un viaje que puede ser sentimental o profesional. Say journey. It's been a fascinating and very enriching journey. And living in Spain, my adopted country. Yes, I came here when I was 20. I came back when I was 22. And since then, I've been living here. I've lived in many different places. I've lived in 2 weeks in Barcelona. Before then, I lived on Rosales Street. I've lived on Calle de los Dos Amigos. I've lived on Travesía del Conde Duque. I've lived on Doctor Izquierdo. I've lived on Calle de los Astros. I've lived on Calle de la Academia, behind the Prado Museum. I've lived on Ortega Gasset. I've lived on Virgen del Val. I've lived in 34 different places in my life. And I'm forgetting some of the places. I've lived on Avenida Filipinas, the Islas Filipinas. I've lived there. I've lived many, many places. Me faltan dos. I can't remember now. And so, and it's been a very enriching experience. I've traveled all over Spain. The only province, no, I've been to every province in Spain, except, well, Ceuta and Melilla are not provinces, son ciudades autónomas. I've been to Ceuta, but I've never been to Melilla. But I've been to the 50 provinces in Spain, including Baleares, the Balearic Islands, and including, of course, the Canary Islands. Yes. And the only places I haven't been, I've never been to Ibiza or Formentera, never. Por casualidad, it's just a coincidence. The first, when I came to Spain in 1972, and I was 20 years old, the first trip I took, hitchhiking, was to Valencia, to catch a boat to go to Ibiza. The first trip. And I went with Lena, una americana iba conmigo. Yeah? And we hitchhiked. A truck driver picked us up outside of Madrid and took us all the way to Valencia. In Valencia, we went to the port, a uno de los tinglados que hay ahí, to go to Ibiza. And we got there, they were closing the gate. I said, no, it's too late. We arrived 1 minute late to go to Ibiza. And I said, well, we have 3 days. What do you suggest? And the man said, I suggest Sueca. Están con su festival anual, fiesta anual. And so we went to Sueca. Okay, fine. Estaba gafado. Ibiza es una isla gafada para mí. I'll never go. But I've been to every province in Spain. What's my favorite province? Impossible to say. Every single province in Spain is fascinating. Ciudad Real, con las tablas de Daimiel, or Piedra Buena, or everywhere. And it's beautiful. Orense, fantastic place. Or Teruel. You can go to Alcoriza, you can go to Albarracín, you can go to many places in Teruel Capital. Yes. Y de Picos Pardos nació en Teruel, ¿lo sabes? Yeah, the expression comes from Teruel. Y luego los amantes de Teruel. And I've been to Zamora, of course. It's very, very interesting going to Toro and to Zamora, Sanabria, El Lago. You go to the lake. Every province in Spain offers very interesting trips. En España había un anuncio hace 1000 años que España sin ir más lejos. Y tienen razón, como un piano, it's true. Of course, I love Italy, I love France, I love Great Britain, Ireland, I love the United States. Traveling through the United States is a fantastic experience. I love it. But Spain, you have everything. You have everything. You have the mountains, you have the coast, you have wet weather, dry weather, sun, rain. You have good food. The food in Madrid is good. The food in the north, the Basque Country, is very different from Asturias. And from Galicia, the food's different, but very, very heavy and very good. The food in Las Castillas is very, very good as well. El cordero asado y los asados in general. And then, of course, you have the coast. The food in Catalunya is excellent. The food in Valencia is excellent. The food in Andalucía, los pescaditos fritos, los gambas de la costa, las cigalas de Huelva. Yeah, very, very good. And things y los acedillas, which is the best. And I'm out of time. Thank you for following me these 1,200 programs. I'm honored, and I hope to see you again someday. Bye-bye.